Excuse me, sir. First of all, your name and why you coming to
Aneja,
Yes.
just one. Atul Aneja, and I'm a strategic analyst from India. I have come to as a delegate for this program. I'm also an advisor to Myanmar Narrative think tank.
But my question is here in the your heading of this forum is the challenge and the opportunities for this country. So, what is the challenge of this country and what will be the opportunity for the challenge?
You see, to me, the challenge really has come from what I call the US deep state. The US deep state, which wants to establish one world government, does not like countries which exercise sovereignty and independence, whether it is my country, India, or whether it is China, or even smaller countries. So they use soft power and hard power to do regime changes. They have targeted Myanmar also for regime change under the so-called Burma Act. So the biggest problem is the deep state, but fortunately, and the deep state is itself in trouble because of arrival of Donald Trump. I think people should realize it's a very major development. It's a cultural revolution in a way which has taken, or let's say conservative revolution which has taken place in the United States. It's a world-changing event, and I think Myanmar is going to benefit from it.
How do you see the problem of this country?
Well, this country's main problem so far has been internal. And internal means it badly requires a reconciliation internally. The problem which has arisen here is that there are a lot of there must be some internal problems, but that have been leveraged and exploited by the deep state through NGO network, through Soros foundations, through USAID and others, through the Burma Act, which is basically regime change project. So that is the basic problem. Once you remove the deep state's intervention, I think there will be a scope for internal reconciliation. And once you have internal reconciliation, then Myanmar goes way ahead because of its geographical location. It's a bridge between India and China. You're going to get foreign investment over here. You are a cultural powerhouse in Buddhism, so that you can leverage through tourism. So Myanmar's growth path is ahead. But the first major problem is internal reconciliation, for which a new opportunity has come. Now we can move from the stage of fighting to the stage of negotiations. We're somewhere in the middle. Simultaneously, there will be fighting and negotiation. If everything goes well, it will culminate in the elections, which will then set a new stage for revival of Myanmar. That's the roadmap I see optimistically. I think it goes on because I again want to repeat that the USAID's termination by the Trump administration and this idea of non-interference, which is essentially the new American foreign policy, will benefit big time. This was not possible before Trump, but now it's possible. So you have a structural change which has taken place, and within this structural change, I think there's a pathway for reconciliation and then simultaneously rise and growth of Myanmar.
Because according to the promise of our Prime Minister, they're going to have the election end of this year or maybe beginning of the next year. That will be the answer for the conflicts of this country?
See, I think one process between now and January is a very important phase. I think now is a time to really think out and reach out to the insurgent groups, terror groups. I don't see terror groups you can exclude, but insurgent groups, ethnic groups, you should start as an opportunity for a fresh dialogue. They would have also understood by now that they are not going to have the superpower backing them. So their mindset has also changed. So between now and elections, I think that it's a very intense phase where you have to reach out and see and talk to. There'll be, say, out of 10 organizations, 4 may be willing to talk. So you start with the 4, and that sends a message to the others. So once that reconciliation process takes place, I think after that elections are going to be very meaningful and very, very acceptable to not only people of Myanmar but even to the rest of the world. So that bit of internal peace process between now and elections, I think, is doable, is necessary. But again, you need very active diplomacy and outreach right now, a very proactive approach to do it. I think you can do it.
Because even they don't want to, they don't want election, but for this present situation, they need to accept that election. Do you want to say something like that?
I think they need to accept elections because you see, otherwise you fight on the battlefield. And if you are not getting US support, then I'm not sure whether you will win in the battlefield. And that's not the best option for them. So I think elections proposal is an opportunity. You got to send the message right. If you don't accept message, then it's worse for you. So come on the table. The both process, pressure and opening of dialogue. When you do the two together, that can yield results.
Very good answer. So even if I don't ask you, do you have to say anything to say? Do you want to add anything?
No, I just want to say that it's my honor and privilege to be here, and I'm enjoying my stay in Myanmar. And I also want to compliment Myanmar narrative for organizing such a wonderful and well organized conference. It should not be the last one. It should lead to many more of such initiatives.
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning, the first major step, foundational step. After the foundation, now you build your building.
Okay. Nice to meet you.